This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system. This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system. Hi. It's funny.
Yeah. Where's the background again?
Oh, it's on big. That's why. I don't know. I'd have to change the settings. Could you manage to keep talking while I change the background settings?
Welcome to the Latics Football Phone In with me, Sexy Dave, and him, the Matt Dean.
That was smooth.
Yeah. I hope you've all had a good week after that crap display against Ebbsfleet. There's nothing to be positive about following that. But then again, but if you want to be positive,
look,
come on the show.
Wilbur Godsafe is listening from Glastonbury.
Wilbur Godsafe.
And I bet you the vibes down there are much better than the
totally
vibes up
chilled
here.
there, Wilbur. Yeah, Godsafe.
Yeah, we're having a good day. Looking forward to the fun. Well, it's now.
Yeah, that's good. You're going to put a link in the You're going to put a link in the old.
Oh yeah. Good evening, Oldham fan.
Yeah, Oldham fan. 48 year watching. So.
Your age?
Yes. No. Did you have a good week, Matt?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
What have you been up to?
Been working.
It's just fluid. It's just fluid.
I've been trying to do so. I can't multitask. Can't multitask. Dave, no.
I can.
I can't think and do something at the same time.
You've got to. Yeah.
I can't walk and chew at the same time.
Can you not?
No.
I can eat beef paste and do a lot of things.
Yeah, no, it's been.
Do you think they eat beef paste in Glastonbury, or do you think it'd be some meat replacement sort of paste?
Well,
like butter.
Michael Eavis has farm in Glastonbury with lots of cows on it.
He's a vegetarian, isn't he?
Somebody must eat the cows.
Well, he probably sells them
for
to pay for his artists.
Maybe.
Do you think he pays people in cows?
Maybe.
Liam Gallagher.
How many cows do you
25
want,
cows. How many do you think Elton got? How many cows? It's got to be 100.
I don't know. What's 100 cows worth?
Well, if Wilbur, if you're
less under the Tories.
Well,
less after Brexit.
I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me for.
You're having political debate.
Yeah, political debate.
So let's stop that because nobody's here to listen to that nonsense. Apparently, we sold 3,000 tickets already for Kidderminster to welcome Frank back.
Yeah, £1. Yeah, £1.
That's a cool $3,000.
Yeah, cool £3,000. But if you get something, if you buy pies and programs, it's good. We need to pat the park for that for Frank because he has done tremendously well to raise over £260,000 for Alzheimer's and a little bit of rowing in between as well. I'm only joking. It's a great achievement, Frank, and everybody at the Phone In and podcast are wishing you well, as I'm sure most or all Oldham fans are.
I'm sure, yeah. And I hope you've got a really nice 5-star luxury break waiting for you in Antigua for a good while to recuperate. Yeah, absolutely. Beef paste aplenty, I'm sure. So, yeah, it wasn't the best result, was it, on Saturday? It was on the telly.
Yeah.
We don't seem to do ourselves very much justice on the TV, do we?
Barnett, we did all right.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So,
Shall we
bring him in?
Let's bring him in.
Don't forget to get calling in, guys, because it's if there's not many callers tonight, we're not going to hang around.
Yeah, I just love traveling 45 minutes to the studio for one caller. So come on, guys, pull your fingers out.
Hi, bit.
Evening, Sexy Dave. I'm at you all right?
Yeah,
all right, mate. Thanks for calling.
How are you?
I'm all right. I hope I'm not the only caller in tonight.
No,
me too.
There's another one now just come in, so we're all right.
Yeah, we'll be with you, Sean.
You're just a trendsetter, Ibby, so thanks for that, mate.
Yeah, you're very disappointed, guys, since the weekend.
It was poor, wasn't it?
It was on Mickey Mellon, sadly, and it needs to not happen again because now we find ourselves out of the playoff spots, and it doesn't look nice, really.
What makes you say it was on Mickey Mellon?
Team formation wasn't great, and I'm not against him, but he has made few mistakes. But managers do make mistakes. All we can do is just support the team, and hopefully we can stop cutting these errors and start performing very well and getting back into the playoffs, because we don't want to keep coming out of it, Dave and Matt.
No, we need to be in there from the outset now. Just for the last 10 games, we have to be in and amongst it all the way, not on the pitch. We've got to be right in there, secure our playoff spot. But what was it? What would you change? Because I think Noel was out for 6 to 8 weeks. It's been sort of rumoured. What do you think we need to do to change? A change of style? What do you think?
I'm not sure, Dave. It's a tricky question, but whatever the manager does, we will support him. But we got Gardner in now. I think hopefully he'll become a big turning point in our season. And if Norwood is out, it will be a shame. But we've got players in there that can replace him.
Well, it's going to be difficult to replace the 16-goal leading goal scorer, but it's up to the other lads to step up now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Walker needs to play because he has looked very promising when he's played, and I think we were crying out for him, weren't we, the other night? So it's just and Dallas. You can't forget Dallas, Garner. We've got some good, experienced goal scorers, haven't we? There, so hopefully Norwood going out injured. He can be replaced because it can't be all pinned on one. I'm sort of glad it's happened now and not towards the end of the season. Because 6 to 8 weeks in 3 or 4 weeks' time would be really bad, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Not ideal, though, is it?
No, it's still not ideal. No.
No. Well, we'll see what we be.
We will. At the moment, it's not been confirmed, so we will have to just finger cross and see what happens.
Yeah, could be better, could be worse. You never know how it's going to turn out. So
yeah, I just hope that we play on Tuesday now. It's another hard game, but we got home advantage, and I want to say that the club has been very good doing that good offer for Frank's home return, and I hope that everybody buys the tickets and supports this man because he's been wonderful for this football club, and we need to support him.
100%, Ibby. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I got nothing more to say. Have a good evening.
Cheers, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So
that dude is washing up there.
Yeah. Noisy, wasn't it? I was going to say something, but I've forgotten what it was. Oh, I was actually going to bring in Dean's point here. Apparently, I mean, this is not substantiated. Average price for a dairy cow is about 1,400 quid, depending on its age.
100 cows. Not bad, is it?
You do the math?
You do the maths.
Yeah.
Right, let's bring Sean in.
Okay, boss.
Go on then.
Hey.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah, the Honourable John Bramwell of Saddleworth had tipped me off on the show that you had on Wednesday evening.
All right.
And so he said, if you get a chance, why don't you dial in? My dad, Jim Fryatt, used to play for Oldham back in the 70s.
All right.
Brilliant.
And I've never been a big Twitter or online person, but he passed away about 3.5 years ago, and I'd heard from teams that he had played for before that he was well thought of. So I've gone on Twitter and I've seen some nice things out there. So I've just joined the show really to say thank you to everyone for all those nice words about my dad. When they mention like hero and legend, it's really I wish he had known that.
Yeah.
I wish he had known how much he was appreciated, because it was a lot of this had taken place. He never was an internet person, so but it's nice to know that he's appreciated. So I just wanted to come on your show and say hello to the Latics fans and to thank for all the nice words that you've said about my dad.
If anyone remembers Jim, then please give us a shout, because he's a bit before our time, isn't he, Dave?
Yes,
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah.
We don't have any memories, I'm afraid. But
70,
I'm sure there'll be some people
played
watching
for
who does have a do have some memories.
So a great goal scoring record, 40 goals in 76 games for Oldham as well. So yeah, really.
Brian remembers him there.
It was a magical time. He just got transferred from Blackburn, and I was about 7 or 8 years old. He used to take me to the ground, which none of the other players did. So I was able to at least go to the locker room or the dressing room, I think you call it in England, and see some of the players there. And even though he was only there for 2 years, it was just a magical time. They won promotion out of 4th division to the 3rd division, scored all kinds of goals, won the Ford Sporting League. And he would take me, I'd be in the dressing room, and then he'd let me go up into the, I go up into the stands to find a seat. I can't even believe he let me do that at the age of, would have been like 8, 9. But, that was, it was just a very memorable. And then, they play on Saturdays, and then Sundays he'd go in for treatment. Jim McGregor was the physio there, and you'd hear all these stories. Some players would go in for the treatment on Sunday, at the ground, and McGregor had all these great stories. Of course, McGregor went on to Manchester United to become the physio there, and of course Frizzle was the manager. And my dad thought so highly of Frizzle at that time. It was a shame my dad had to leave. I mean, but Frizzle knew how to get the best out of his players, and when their shelf life maybe was up, so then he would move on. So they sold him to Southport after, after Oldham. But there was a couple of years that when he played there, it was just a tremendous time, scoring all kinds of goals with David Shaw up front. And, it was Keith Babington, Tommy Bryceland, David Shaw. I was just looking up the team today, Ian Wood, Morris Whittle with fullbacks, and it was just a great time. Of course, they introduced the Ford Sporting League in only for 1 year, and you were rewarded with the number of goals that you scored, and they subtracted yellow cards and red cards, and Oldham won it every month, which led to them winning the final prize with the Ford Sporting League, and that money had to go not to the players but to improve your ground, and that's how the Ford Sporting stand. Which I believe is not there anymore. There's a new stand there now, but it was heady times back then.
Well, you're getting a lot of comments on it. Well, your father is Sean. It's great to see that a lot of the fans who watch the show are remembering him as well, and it might get some of the younger fans as well to actually look him up and look at his records and look at what sort of player he was just in general, because I think it's fair to say it's long before the internet or any highlights, and there might be a few odd highlights knocking around. But yeah, if the younger Latics fans try and look up Jim Fryatt, it'd be most definitely well worthy. So, because I will also. And thank you for joining us. What were your memories of Oldham then, as a young lad and stuff like as a club and stuff like that?
So it was great. I mean, we lived in Northern Rochdale. So I actually went to school in Rochdale Primary and Middle School before. I'm dialing in from the States. I'm actually in Pennsylvania right now. Because later in my dad's career, he came to the States to play in Philadelphia. And to make a long story short, we actually moved out to Las Vegas where he coached.
Yeah.
And then I came back east after high school to Philadelphia and played in college here. So I've stayed in the States since. But growing up, in Northern Rochdale, I looked it up today. It's only about 17 miles from Boundary Park. So, my remembrances were, the team did tremendous. When he joined him from Blackburn, and Oldham was near the bottom of the 4th division. And they had a good run at the end of the season, which is when he signed, and they stayed up. And then the next year they went on that run for the Ford Sporting League, but also finished 3rd in the 4th division. I think it was Notts County and Bournemouth ahead of them. So that's how they got their promotion. The amazing thing was after he was transferred to Southport's home games were on Friday nights. So Saturday was a free day for him. So we would drive over to Oldham if they were playing at home to watch Oldham. So at his players pass, he'd bring me along. We'd go into the stands. We'd go up, find an empty seat up the top. And continue to watch Oldham play. My highlights were halftime when they go down and get refreshments like wagon wheels and some of maybe the old timers remember that, and some of the meat pies, and listening to Moldy Old Dough on Radio Latics before the games. I think Lieutenant Pigeon, which was the piano song back then. But we had, and when I look at my dad's history of playing, he didn't stay at the clubs too many years, only a year or two. Because I asked him about that because he just felt that if, when the manager would come to him, he said, hey, Southport are interested in talking to you. That if the manager truly wanted them around, then he wouldn't even let them, would even come to you to say, hey, they want to talk to you. So,
right.
So he'd only spent a year at Torquay, a couple of years at Stockport, a couple of years at Blackburn, a couple of years at Oldham, and then Southport 2 or 3 years. So, some of the old time stories are great. Yeah, and like I said, going over to Boundary Park, going back in the dressing room, like I said, the next day going to physio. Very, very, I have fond memories, great memories of course. I still remember Oldham wearing the old orange. Strip, which Dad loved. He was. I'm sorry, whoever is on now, they might love the blue, but I think it was in '72 they changed to the blue strip. But that orange strip was iconic, and he said that the next year after he left, they were set up to do the next version of the orange strip, but then they changed to blue. So.
What did he love about it? Why did he prefer the orange? Is there something different? Or was
it was just everybody else had their blues and their reds, and the orange with the little blue stripe, white sleeve collars and sleeve with a blue stripe around it, blue shorts. I think it was orange socks. He just really enjoyed that uniform, like that uniform. I mean, he's played in different uniforms or strips, I should say, or kits. But that was always an iconic strip for him. And he just, like you saw, he scored a bunch of goals. David Shaw scored a bunch of goals playing up front, and it was just a heady time, a great time for Oldham. They survived relegation, they got promotion, they got into the 3rd division, and then a little bit through the season on 3rd is when he was transferred to Southport, and then they went from there. Right, 3rd division, they got into the 2nd division. Through Jimmy Frizzle, then I think it was Joe Royal that came along and then got him over the hump to win the League Cup and then get into the Premier at that time. So, but back then, team was tremendous. Like I said, scoring goals. Memories. One of the memories I have is I talked about going to the ground on Sundays and. Back then, behind the stand to the left, behind the goal, and I forget which end is at the Chatty end.
Yeah.
But there was no houses back then; it was just open field. So we go down for a kick around. I remember the one time they had John. Again, I'm dating myself. As you get, and you'll find that as you get older, you think, "Oh, that was only 5-10 years ago." No, it wasn't. It was like 20-30 years.
Yeah.
But they had Brian Kidd and John Aston kicking a ball around, and here I am on a Sunday morning, and there's the team.
There's the team.
Yeah.
There's
is your dad on at the back?
He's in the back with the old sideboards and the mustache.
Yeah.
Next to him, Bill Cranston, the center half. Jimmy Frizzle in the blue. McGregor, who I talked about, in the middle row, second from the right. He's the one with the tracksuit top.
Yeah.
Harry Dowd was the goalkeeper. He came from Manchester City. He played for Manchester City in 1970 in the FA Cup final. I don't know how the deal was. They transferred from City to Oldham, but he was quite a character. He'd always pretend to throw the ball out and fake the person in front of him and then boot it. And I always figured one day he's going to miss that and drop the ball, but he never did.
Yeah.
Down the bottom row on the left is Morris Whittle, left fullback. Next to him is David Shaw, who scored. My dad was good in the air, laid the ball off, and Shaw could run like a gazelle, and he'd run through and scored a whole bunch of goals as well. I think David Shaw was transferred to West Brom later in his career.
Do you have
any? And then next to him, Tommy Bryceland and Keith Babington.
Yeah. Do you have any funny stories from your dad's playing days that he shared with you about any opposing players or anything like that? Is there anything of note that sticks out for you?
No, he'd always, it was always a lot of banter going on the field. And he'd tell me, it was a little bit rougher back then. And he'd always go up against their centre half. He'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna get you." Yeah, all right, here we go. So he'd always said he'd have to clatter him. Some of the old timers probably remember my dad had thrown his body around. He'd clatter him early on, just to let him know that he was there. the one story really wasn't related to Oldham, but I know when he played for Blackburn, they played Manchester City in the FA Cup, and City went 1-0 up. It was at Blackburn. Blackburn equalized with a goal from my dad. And my dad said, "Okay, here we go." And Tony Book, who was a captain for City, he just, "Nah, I don't think so." And then City went on to score 3 straight goals to win 4-1. And then City went on to win the FA Cup that year. That would have been 1970.
Brilliant.
But I was fortunate. I mean, he took me to the grounds, dressing rooms for the games. I remember a couple of the games, I would actually go into one of those boxes. It was Frizzle's box. And, so a couple of times Frizzle would be in there, and man, Frizzle would be yelling and shouting and effing this and effing that. But, the results that Frizzle got, you could see, paid off. I know that, I talked about the physio McGregor. He had all kinds of stories. He had a little bit of a stammer, so it was always, some of his stories were funny. But, the players were getting treated. A couple would be sitting down waiting. Dad would be on the, would be on the treatment table, and they'd swap these stories. But McGregor had all these, he was a great talker, had great stories. And I think it was down in Exeter one time. They won 2-0, but one of the fans was having a go at him behind the bench, and McGregor turned around and threw a bucket of water because he had the old magic sponge on the fan. It was near the end of the game. Then they all went back into the dressing room, and there was a knock on the door. It was the police, and I think what they did was they swapped jerseys or shirts or whatever. I'm here to find the trainer. Where's the trainer at? And I said, he left. And so that was the one. I was thinking about those stories today. That was the one story he said. It was down south, down in Exeter, and the police were looking for McGregor because he had thrown a bucket of water on one of the fans right at the end of the game, which was very funny.
Do you ever get back over to Oldham? Do you ever come back? Have you got any plans to come back to see Oldham?
I would like to get back for a game or two in the next year or so. When I graduated college, I actually came, I played soccer in college, and I wanted to see if I could make it playing in England. I was actually down in Southend because I have an aunt and uncle who lived down there. So I trained with Southend for a little bit. My only claim to fame was meeting Bobby Moore because he was the manager at that time. But at 22, 23, it's a little bit older. And I figured I probably could make it, but I'd have to stick it out for a year, make sure I trained, make sure I could get into it. So that was really the last time I was there. Since then, I've in the Philadelphia area, I'm married. I have 2 daughters who now have grandsons. But my mother, brother, and sister still live out in Las Vegas. And I know my mother will plan to come out there. So if we do, we'll come over to Boundary Park, and I know that's one thing that we'd like to do.
And one question: who do your grandsons support? Are they Oldham fans?
Well, they're only 1 of 3, but we'll make sure that Latics fans as we proceed forward too.
Yeah.
The one other thing I did want to mention is, later on, with my dad passing away 4 years ago, we did discover he had Alzheimer's and dementia. It's quite shocking when you go through that because you read about it, but when you actually are there to witness it, and him not remember things, and him not recognizing who you are. But he did donate his brain to Boston University here in the States, and they do an analysis similar to, I think, a university in Scotland, maybe, that does the same sort of, research. And they did find that he had a stage 4, which he was 79 when he passed away. He was surprised because he was very fit. He stayed fit. In fact, I played with him in the parks. He was playing at 47. So one of my highlights was playing with my dad, in a parks team in Las Vegas. But anyway, and there's more stories coming out about it with the, we've seen it with some of the World Cup winners, Nobby Stiles, right? Sir Bobby Charlton, sorry. And this link between heading the ball and dementia and Alzheimer's. I mean, my dad knew that. They did have a Cleveland clinic here in Vegas that he went to. They diagnosed him. But we talked about it. He said he wouldn't change a thing. I mean, he had a good life, a good career, and enjoyed, where he played. He loved being in the dressing room, the banter, and then, of course, when the team's successful, then it makes it all worthwhile. But yeah, some of the highlights were, throughout his career were, he had a good spell at Stockport County, a little good spell at Southport, but Oldham, especially that one year of 1970-71 of the promotion year was certainly a highlight for him. And it's just great when he passed away, I'd heard through the grapevine that, people are still, recognizing your dad. From back in the day. Now I've looked. I can't find any film from those games. I do have photos, but it would have been great if they had some game film or somewhat from 1969, 1970. But I've not found any. But certainly good memories from back then.
Well, we'll put it out there now on the show. If anyone's got anything, because we have a few historians and stuff like that at Oldham, don't we? You may have, the replay games in the UK here called the Big Match Live. So your dad may feature on them. So if we do get anything, or if anyone knows of any footage, please contact us and we can happily forward it to you, Sean.
Yeah, it'd be great.
If you drop an email to us, our email's on the Twitter page. So if you drop us an email, we can then pass it on and obviously pass on the details of the fan who found it as well. And if we find anything, we'll more than happily pass it on.
We'll do.
Thank you. Hercule Andy on the case.
Our top researcher.
Resident detective.
He'd
find anything. So
excellent.
But just one thing: do you remember any of the goals your dad scored for Oldham? If so, which one was probably your favourite that you can remember? If I know you were 7, like you said, but was there anything that stuck out?
I think he scored. A lot of them were headers. There was one time we beat Chester 5-0. I think he scored 4 of those 5. 4 were, and they were all headers. I remember that. Believe it or not, I remember they had a friendly game against Hibernian near the end of the season, of the promotion-winning season. I remember he had a half volley that flew into the back of the net. Not so much maybe an important game, but it's a game. It was a goal that stood out for me.
Yeah.
And I just remembered his heading ability and his ability to hang in the air. Of course, I'm somewhat biased, right? But his timing and his ability just to hang and knock the ball down or score or knock it for Dave Shaw in this case was great. I do have a couple of negatives in that, because we lived in Rochdale. In 70, we played Rochdale in the FA Cup at Rochdale and lost 2-0. And I looked at the crowd. It was like 10,000, maybe 14,000. They had a good crowd there. And then they had a thing called the Lancashire Senior Cup, which we played Rochdale again in the final and ended up losing 3-2. It was a Monday night. And Tuesday morning, I went to school. I saw a bunch of kids gathering there. Next thing you know, they ran around me with these blue and white scarves, singing Rochdale, these bastards. How dare they? And this is primary school.
Sean, we all kind of we all idolize our dads when we're like 7 or 8 years old. But what's it like when your dad's a footballer? It must be quite special.
Yeah, it really was. And I don't know if many people know it, but before he came to Oldham, he played at Bradford Park Avenue, and in '64 he scored the fastest goal at that time in 4 seconds. So what was neat was Guinness Book of Records had his name in that book. So when you're at school, you'd have the Guinness Book of Records, and oh look, fastest goal. That's my dad.
Amazing.
So so those are some of the neat things, and I look back at it now, and the fact that he just took me into the dressing room, like I said, he did that at Oldham. When he went to Southport, I would go to the Southport dressing rooms with him as well, and he'd just leave me to my own devices. I go in the locker room, and then when players were starting to get ready for the team talk, I would leave. I'd go in the boot room, or I'd make my way up and find an empty seat in the stand, and then watch the games from up there. So we were very, very, very fortunate. I was telling my mom that we always want to tell mom I had a nice life growing up, and I had some nice, really good experiences. And I don't know why Dad would take me, because I don't think any of the players did. But unfortunately, they did, because I was able to go back and make my way down, where McGregor's place was, the physio room, and just enjoyed watching the games.
One of the things that the new owners of the club have done, which is really nice, is they've installed a players' lounge for the players to use during the day, eating and relaxing, play pool and whatnot. But on a match day, it's a family space. So wives and partners can bring their kids along, the little kids along, and they can watch the games. Really good view in the corner between the main stand and the Chaddy Road end. So I think that's a nice thing. And it's always really busy every match day. So the kids can watch their dads, their idols performing.
It's nice.
It's a nice touch.
And it develops, right, the next set of fans for Oldham as well. I know it's tough times right now. I'm seeing that, Sean, if he remembers Whittle breaking the cross, but I don't. But I do remember Morris Whittle was a left fullback, and he had a great left foot, hit great free kicks, and could whack a ball. And whenever he wound up, the crowd you could hear the anticipation of Maurice Whittle ready to hit a ball. I don't know. Back then they had players' lounge. I know they had the bar downstairs, because I know my dad would go in there and come out, because I couldn't go in there and get me a Coke and bring a Coke out to me while I was standing outside, like near the bar, near the players' lounge. But the players would go into the bar, then, he'd hang out for a bit. He even did that in Southport too. If it was a night game, driving home, he would stop off the bar, but he'd bring me out a Coke, and then he'd go back in until it was time to go home. But that's good that they're doing something for the families, right? And I think that's, hopefully Oldham gets back into the league where they should be. And it's not easy, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we see the thing over here with the Wrexham and all that's involved. There's a lot of teams out there. There's a lot of investment. It's making sure you recognize, talent, and hopefully they get some more decent, better results as they go forward here.
Someone said that I always remember legendary con reporter Jim Williamson that Jimmy Fryatt hovered like a great orange spacecraft.
I looked at it. There's another story out there. Jimmy Fryatt saved my life, and I think it was a young boy behind the goal, chatty end again. The dad scored, went in the back of the ball went in the back of the net. Whoever the young boy was, tried to get the ball out, and got caught in the net. So my dad went down into the net, freed him up, grabbed the ball, and then I think that's where the reference was. Jimmy Fryatt saved my life. Very, very fun, very tongue-in-cheek, very funny story.
Yeah. So when you played, was there any advice that your dad gave you, or any tricks of the trade that he passed on? Did he leave you to it?
And were you a striker as well, or I don't know if you mentioned?
No, I played. I played more. No, I wasn't really like my dad up front. It's more midfield, defender, midfield. He didn't. I went off to college, and that was in Philadelphia. He was back in Las Vegas, so he didn't really see many of my games. But he would. I just remember when I was younger, growing up, he would come to see. I played at primary school and the middle school team, and I just remember it was very. He had to play a really good game for him to say, "Oh, that was a good game." He was very. I don't want to say too critical. He wasn't negative, but you had to play
meet
well.
the standard. Meet the standard.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
No, not at all.
And are you aware of the current owner situation at Boundary Park, and the Oldham-based Rothwell family taking over, and the fact that Frank is currently nearly at the end of the Atlantic after rowing for Alzheimer's Society? So
I am aware of that. I was aware of the previous owners, not fondly thought of, right? And finally, they sold and got some new owners in, which will definitely help the cause. And that's what you need. You need some good ownership, some good leadership, who know what they're doing, who care about the team. And it's going to be behind the scenes as well. It's not only the team on the field, but building up the youth team, the reserve team, and hopefully pulling from the local, resources and having, children's teams and things like that. So you can start building on that. Again, hopefully they can, we can get some good results here and get into at least the playoffs. I mean, Chesterfield is, I don't think they're going to be caught. There's a couple up there as well. So that would be the idea, and start building upon that. But it's a good sign to have good ownership and good leadership, and get Oldham back to where they should be.
So, do you think we'll make the playoffs this season then, Sean? Come on, Sean.
Yes, why not?
There we go.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe. That's what it's all about. Well, I just want to say thank you to John Bramall for asking you to come on. It is greatly appreciated. And John always does ask for new callers every week on Twitter after the show. And
we always say, like, there'll be people call, well, then we'll let them on the show. That's the whole idea. So it's nice to just sit here and be able to listen, and not have to do the talking, because nobody wants that for half an hour.
And you're more than welcome anytime on here, Sean. And if you ever want to come when you're over and you want to do a live one with us, mate, you're more than welcome.
And if you do come over, the club have been it's very well run now, and it's very hospitable. I'm sure they'd look after you as a family of a former well-regarded player, and I'm sure the fans would like to meet you if you do come along. So I think that's the great thing. Oldham I'm sure it was like that when you were younger. It's always been a very friendly, welcoming club, and I don't think that's changed. I think we're just the same now. Our reputation, we need to be a bit more ruthless on the pitch, but off it, I think we're still a nice, welcoming place to come and visit. So it'd be great if you were over this way to pop in on a match day.
Yeah, are you on Twitter, Sean?
I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Like I said, I'm not savvy enough on this, but if you do find me out on Facebook, you'll see a few team pictures of teams I play with. But you'll see a team picture with my dad in the same team back in when we played for a team called Sparta in Las Vegas.
Sparta.
Yes, Sparta FC. So that was my high school years, and that was Dad. He would have been like 40. Like I said, 40. He was playing until he was 47, 48 in the local leagues. And then he had hips replaced, so that curtailed his playing. But he enjoyed playing.
And if the club do invite you over and get you a lovely box, and you have 2 spare seats, then me and Matt are always available.
Yeah, you'll be the first aboard.
I'm only kidding. We have been doing this for nearly 2 years and not had one offer from the club yet, have we?
No.
So yeah, if you get one before us, by all means, invite us.
Especially when you got 60 Dave, you got to have somebody like that in the box, right?
So what you give the people what they want, as they say, mate. Yeah, I'll most definitely let you buy me a beer when you come over, mate. No problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
We found you on Twitter anyway and followed you from the podcast account, so we can stay in touch now, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's Fryatt 1 or something along those lines.
If we do get any footage, mate, we'll definitely get it of your father. We'll get it sorted. And
I've looked. I mean, there is later footage when he played in Philadelphia. There's a couple things out there, but man, it would be great to see sometime. Especially for the younger people, to see a little bit from the Oldham games from back then, because it was, it was a good team.
And it doesn't matter who you are. You've never looked as good as you look in an Oldham kit, especially that tangerine one. That was peak.
Yeah, I mean the tangerine, like I said, Dad, he's played in different uniforms and kits, and that tangerine kit was one of his favorites.
Yeah,
and I remember him saying, "I'm disappointed they went to the blue." But even before the tangerine, they would have, would have the white and the blue, right? In the front. So I'd be curious why they changed to tangerine. But he thought it was
Ken Bates.
It was something to do with Ken Bates, the chairman,
Chelsea chairman. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Ken Bates. Yeah, Ken Bates. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like the way that you still say certain words with a bit of a Northern English accent, a bit of a twang. That's nice.
It comes out from time to time, which is amazing, because I've not been back to England since, like I said, after college, which was 85, 86.
Yeah, well, you've not lost it completely anyway, although I think we've lost you completely.
No. Oh, no.
Oh no, you're back again.
You froze in a minute.
Okay.
You froze. You froze. We froze. You froze. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good, mate.
Well, it's nice anyway. It's nice to hear that bit of accent just coming through. So,
and honestly, thank you for taking time out. I don't know what time is it. Is it about 2:00 in the afternoon? There,
it's 4:10 in the afternoon in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Doylestown is just north of Philadelphia. So,
if I'm ever in Doylestown, I'll give you a shout out.
Well, you've got the World Cup.
We've just announced we've got 6 World Cups in Philadelphia, 6 World Cup games in Philadelphia in 2026, 5 group games, and 1 round of 16 game on July 4th.
So if England are there, it's all round to Sean.
Oh yeah,
you heard it first.
Sexy Dave, it's the USA.
yeah.
Box seats at Boundary Park, and then box seats at the Link, which is Lincoln Financial, which is where they'll have the games at.
Right. Yeah. Well,
sounds good, Dave.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. We're doing
it
on corporate, Dave. When we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was talking about this the other day. I fancy Mexico. That would be amazing. Football in Mexico. They love it because it's in Canada. States, and it's in Mexico as well, isn't it?
USA for me. I'm definitely going to have a whiz over to the USA.
I do fancy it though. I must admit, yeah.
I mean, it's
well, we've got a house to stay in Pennsylvania now.
Sean's we're just a half hour, 40 minutes north of Philadelphia. We're in the suburbs.
Perfect.
But I've always, this is where we first came in '73. That's when my dad came to play to Philadelphia during the summer, and really, fell in love with the place. So, I've stayed here, and like I said, my parents are out in Vegas, and that's a unique place in itself as well.
Again, and you have another sporting connection in the family as well, don't you? Your brother's a golfer as well.
Yeah. So brother Ed played in the PGA Tour back in 2000. I mean, he was out in Vegas. He didn't pick up a golf club until like 13. Went out with my dad. Actually drove him with a neighbor just to go hit balls, and then he just took off from there.
That's unbelievable.
And that was neat because some of the tournaments were on the East Coast, so we would go see him in Hartford or actually Ed. I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister, 4 years younger than Ed's, 8 years younger. Ed actually played in a couple of U.S. Opens. And one of them was a congressional, would have been 97. So we all went down. The team I was playing for, because I played some amateur here too, a group of us went down to follow him around and watch him at the U.S. Open, which was neat. And that was before, 9/11. So security, you could go into the dining room with the other players. And, if there was a rain delay, you got to see, VJ or Nick Faldo. And I had relatives that didn't even follow golf. Who's that guy? That's Jack Nicklaus, and that guy's tall. Who's that? That's Nick Faldo. And I think my mother-in-law actually advised Vijay Singh on having the bacon and breakfast at when they played either at the Open or they played in New York at one of the places. But it was neat to see. Ed actually had a good year or two on the tour, and then for some reason he just couldn't make a cut. And if you don't make a cut, on the U.S. tour, you don't get paid. And it got to the point where it wasn't working for him. So then he actually became a State Farm insurance agent out in Vegas, and he does a lot of road mountain biking out in the outskirts of Vegas there. So, but for a little while, it was kind of fun just following him around, and just funny up in Hartford. I think he finished in the top 5 just to see your brother's name on a scoreboard with some of Kirk Triplett and some of these other names that you'd grown up seeing, and there's your brother's name up there. So it was, we were a sporting family. I mean, that's
clearly, yeah. And now he lives in the Blackpool of Nevada, which is very lucky.
I think Las Vegas is a little bit better than Blackpool, isn't it?
Oh well, yeah, I'm sure.
The Blackpool Illuminations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dad would always say that we'd leave the house, to leave the lights, and look, what is this? The bloody Blackpool Illuminations. Turn these lights off here.
Yeah. I've heard that a few times myself.
Yeah.
Right, listen, Sean, it's brilliant to talk to you. Thanks very much for calling in, mate.
Thank you so much. It's been really good. And again,
I know a lot of our listeners have enjoyed that little trip down memory lane, so thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure, and many thanks. And if you want to friend me out there, I don't post a whole lot out there, but I know Facebook, I've got a few pictures out there, and
good stuff.
And hopefully go Latics, and let's hopefully everything turns around and we start moving up.
It's a matter of when, not if.
That's right.
So we'll get there. Don't worry.
Very good.
Sean, thank you very much
for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Take
All
care,
the best.
mate. All the best. Thank
Talk
you.
to you later. Thanks.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Bye now. Oh,
Wow.
Wasn't it? Unexpected call, wasn't it? It was nice.
Lovely.
That.
Was,
Yeah.
And we're going to hit the USA.
Yeah.
So I'll have to take some beef paste with me, I think. But yeah, amazing.
Brilliant. Right, should we talk to Jack?
Yeah,
Are you there, Jack? Oh, there we go.
Here he is.
Here he is.
I heard you through a bit, mate. You all right?
Yeah, you all right?
Not bad, mate.
To be fair, I don't know why I haven't been on in a long time. I've just been busy, to be fair.
Hey, listen, life's like that sometimes, Jack.
We're not judging.
I saw you last time I saw you. We were just on your way out of Boundary Park, weren't we? I can't remember who we've been playing. But,
he's dead tall as well.
Yeah, you're dead tall. You're much taller.
You always see you like sat down and crouched down, but you're dead tall. That's Jack.
Tall, yeah.
So, yeah.
But I can't remember what game it was, but the last couple haven't been the best, have they?
No, I don't see why Hobson's running from centre half into midfield and just launching the ball like we've got 2 6'9" strikers. But we're not going to end up anywhere.
So what's needed, Jack? Come on.
I don't know, but in these 2 games that Hogan has been suspended, I'd rather have saw Sutton at centre half instead of McGahey.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Someone put something on Twitter about the performances with Sutton in the team, the results with Sutton in the team. Now, I didn't verify the research, but it was favourable to Sutton being in the team that we were getting more wins with him in the side. So you're pulling your face, Jack. Do you not think? What do you think?
I don't know, because obviously he played quite a bit of games when we're winning, in like the Christmas period. So that might have boosted a bit of obviously the score. So
yeah, but it was only 2 games in the Christmas period, and McGahey only got dropped because he didn't behave, did he? And I think he played really well against Hartlepool, both away, especially away and at home. I just think I feel a bit sorry for him, me.
I do as well. I think he's got a lot more energy than Mackay. He covers more ground than Mackay does. Mackay's got more experience and all that, but he don't show it. He doesn't show every week. I don't think we don't ship a lot of goals. We don't let a lot of goals in. I think the problem that we've got is that we're not dominating up front and we're not scoring enough goals. And without James Norwood, we'd be really struggling, wouldn't we? The midfield don't chip in with enough goals. So I think that's really where we're at. We've got to start scoring a lot more goals. And, for a team that's had so many strikers, or a squad that's had so many strikers in it, for us to not have scored, I think what's our goal difference?
Get us a creative midfielder, for God's sake. That's what we need.
Well, that's supposed to be Conlon, isn't it, now? So
Conlon. I'm only joking. I'm only kidding. Yeah. No, he did well against Barnet. He's just having a bit. He's probably tired.
He's got to settle in. I mean, I'm not going to jump on players' game.
Well, I'm not forgiving him for not ringing in when he first arrived at the club. And Norwood, we need to get on Norwood's back to get on this phone in as well.
Well, if he's injured now, he's got plenty of time, hasn't he?
Plenty of time.
No excuses.
Rub his hamstrings.
But if you had a question for James Norwood, Jack, what would it be?
Why do you not celebrate?
Do you think he's only going to celebrate when the goals really mean something? Like when he scores the winner at Wembley.
That gets him an £100,000 bonus.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
Would you rather see him sliding on his knees into the corner after he scored goals?
I don't know. It's all his trademark, isn't it? Celebrates and just smiles, and I guess.
Yeah, he's got to love it. He's got to feel great. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Well, this is what Bob says, Jack. No one at Ebbsfleet tried until Fondop came on. I don't think that's necessarily true. I thought the right back did really well in the first half. I thought he was very lively. I thought that Garner was putting it about all over the place. I thought
he was early doors. Yeah, he was anonymous.
It's hard when you're on your own. You know what I mean?
Oh.
He was on his own.
Oh.
Well, he was. But I think there's a lot more to come from Garner. I was very impressed. I thought he got some good free kicks, clever play.
I thought the whole team.
I thought Fondop should have passed it to bloody Garner though when it was that last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and he went and did that shot.
That
and it wasn't rubbish. It was a shot on target.
Yeah,
but it didn't go in. So is every shot rubbish that didn't go in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, he should have passed it to Garner because Garner was clear through, weren't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about the link-up play. They've only been together since Thursday, so just give him a chance. We're still there. We're still there. Like for the last few seasons that we've had. Let's not despair. I don't think
no one can argue with this. Hudson kept us in the game. He's been good this season, Hudson, hasn't he, Jack?
Yeah, been brilliant. And after that Magnus Norman performance versus
Hendon.
Hendon, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't play again this season with the way Hudson's playing. He's playing brilliant.
Yeah, he's been a good signing and he's really established himself as the number one now. So yeah, like I said, I don't think defensively we've got that many issues. I really don't. We
need Hogan back. I know I've said it, bomb scare. I know he's a bit ropey, but God, have I missed him?
You're so fickle, Dave. You
absolutely.
Change, no one's business.
Flip flop Bradley.
You are flip flop Bradley. Yeah, you look good in a pair of flip flops.
Just them.
Yeah, but yeah. Any more points you were desperate to make before we move on to our final caller? Yeah,
I've got two more. I agree with Dave about Hogan, but it's also the ability of, obviously, he's a captain. I think that brings a big effect on, because obviously I don't see Raglan obviously shouting as Hogan does. Like, if Hogan sees someone make a mistake, he'll be on the back.
Hogan has been there in the playoffs and he knows what it's like to stay in the playoffs. I don't think Raglan has. I don't think Hobson has. Sutton hasn't. Kitchen has, but he was injured when Stockport went up in that final season because he got that cruciate injury. There's not many players who've been in that situation. Norwood has. So you've got a leader. Conlon, yeah. So you've got Conlon, Hogan, and Norwood, the spinal team. Now we've got Norwood out, but Garner. Garner's been in there with Carlisle, hasn't he? So, it's just having Hogan at the back, just, direct dictating play. And we only drew against Ebbsfleet.
I know. It wasn't
the end of the world.
It wasn't the result that was the problem. I can take a draw. I can take a defeat. Like, I can take losing, no problem. I'm an Oldham fan. I'm well used to it. It's how you win. It's how you lose. It's how you draw. It's the performances against Woking and Ebbsfleet.
Dave is correct.
Is that about something specific or just in general?
Just correct in life,
I'm not sure about that. Anyway, what was the other point you wanted to make?
The other point was Joe Nuttall's agent needs a rise.
He does. And for that, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well done,
we're going to give you.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Woo!
Caller of the week. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, yeah, he's gone. But not before the music will put him off.
Do you reckon? All right, fair enough.
Anyway, let's go.
I didn't cut him off, did I?
Oh, you might have done. You're not really used to the
no,
mouse,
go on.
are you?
Should we add Chris?
Yeah.
Chris.
Ah,
Hi,
Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just worried that there was no picture. We've been done before, and we don't. What was it, Bill Butner or something? After a great call from Sean earlier, then I just expected.
Yeah. No, we're all right. We're not Chris. We're good.
How are you guys? You okay?
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah. It's only a game, isn't it? So we've got lots of other things going on in our lives that make us happy and
for
fulfilled.
everybody, I didn't cut Jack off. My bad. My internet went out. So no worries, Jack.
No worries, Jack.
Yeah. What do you want to say, Chris?
Not a great deal, really. What a fantastic call from that chat before. Always great. I'm obviously a lot younger, and I weren't around in even born nowhere close to that. So always good to hear talk of some more glorious days, because my knowledge of Latics has been, we've been in League One for I don't know however many years, and then it's just been the last however many years of us going down on it, really. But I wanted to talk really about obviously the game on Saturday and the team as a whole. Really, I think I'm trying to be patient with it, but I think it's one of those things where it's so difficult. I think because I was talking to my dad about this last week, and we were both saying it's one of those situations where I think we've been abject of any kind of success for so long that when we sniff, there's an element of any success on the horizon, we're also excited, and there's so much expectation this season for us to do something. There will be even more so next season if we don't go up this season. The hope is, I think, we get into the playoffs and we at least have a bit of a run, and there's a bit of sniff of some kind of success, and that I think that's doable, isn't it?
I just think that we're in the playoffs. Everyone's like, well, we've always got next season.
Not anymore.
Well, all right.
Oh, no, we're 8 now.
I know, but it'd be fine. It's fine. But, everyone's like, we've always got next season. We can go up next season. Why don't we just try and go for it this season? See if we can, go up.
Well, the club undoubtedly are. I
Yeah.
mean, the signings that they've made and the money that they've spent and everything, that's the aim. But just because it's the aim doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No.
There's a lot that can go right or go wrong. I mean, Norwood's injury is definitely something that's gone wrong.
Last week about the fans and the negativity and I appreciate results don't go our way sometimes, but we need to be more positive, I think, because I think a lot of us are suffering from this imposter syndrome of, oh, well, we've not been there for such a long time. We don't deserve this. Something's going to go wrong. The last time we got close to success was that LDV final, Northern against Chesterfield. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Dicker?
Tommy Lee saved everything.
And and the post about 4 times and Coochie at the bar. But we just got into that, oh, well, we're Oldham and we're always dead unlucky. We're not going to go through, and I always remember that negativity before the game. And it was just like, we just need to change the mindset. And I know it's really difficult. And I'm not saying it's easy and there's no magic wand to change it. But we just need to be, as a club, as a community, as a culture together.
When you put it into context, though, when you look back to the era that Sean was talking about before, and that was like the early 70s and into getting promotion from Division 4. Then in 74, we got promotion from Division 3. And then in 91, we got promotion from Division 2. And that's it. Like we're now in the National League. So like there's only been 3 promotions in that period of time. And now we're in the bottom division. So, we've our experiences of the playoffs are very, very limited, considering we've been in divisions that have playoffs for the majority of that time.
Yeah,
So
I'm not saying it's easy.
I know. I'm just it's hard. I think what it was, Chris, was after the Barnet game, we were all looking at Woking and thinking, right, here's a team that have won 1 in 13. They're coming to Boundary Park. Have we really turned a corner? And a result against Woking will show that we probably have. And then it felt like we'd taken those steps back when we lost in it. And then to back that up then with a 0-0 at Ebbsfleet, and not just a 0-0, but I think, Chris, do you agree that in both games, we didn't really have a goal, did we? And I think that's what's concerning supporters at the minute.
I think it's the tactics, isn't it? The last couple of games, I think there's been murmurs, haven't there? I think you said it about his Mickey Mellon's interview, and I think he was a bit deflective, wasn't he? And the first time we've heard him really not put pressure on players, but I think he kind of, I think he knew he's maybe it's not quite worked and plans not gone ahead, and I just think it's the way we're playing. I think it's a result of we're playing in a certain way to fit the players that we've got. I think we were very much set on the idea of we've got Hogan, Hobson, and Raglan and the 3 fantastic centre halves. So let's play fullback. Let's play the 3, and then obviously 2 fullbacks, and then you end up with this system. I just think we get overloaded. We played Ebbsfleet. We played before that. Woking, wasn't it? Was it Woking? That was the game before. Yeah. And they both played with wingers. They both played a simple system, and it meant that you have 3 players. You have 3 when we're attacking. We've got 3 in the midfield. They've got 2 in the midfield, but then they've got the wingers that can come inside because there's no pressure for them. Yeah. They've not got to mark a man. They've not got to do anything else, so they can end up with 4 in midfield.
But both teams, Ebbsfleet and Woking, played with 10 men behind the ball when they're out of possession, and it's really hard to break down. I'm not saying it's easy, but and you've got to find a way to do that. But you've got to remember that our midfield, Conlon's only played 3 games. The right back, I can't get it right one day. Sachdev, thank you. Has only played 2 games. So and Kitchen has played pretty much every bloody game, so he's knackered. So we've got to try and just gel and settle.
I take all that on board. But when Woking and Ebbsfleet did get men behind the ball, but they also attacked and they got forward. And what we really couldn't do was exploit them when they did get forward and hit them on the break.
That's when the team gels and they come together.
Yeah, but if you go back to when we played Brentford away and they were committing loads of men forward and we were hitting them on the break, where's that ability to now spring attacks on teams that when they're putting players forward? So we seem to have lost a bit of that impetus that we know.
So it is. I think it's Dan Gardner. We're missing Dan Gardner, I think.
I don't know about that. I think it's
Woking, Gardner started, Barnet, Gardner started, Gardner is he's a creative midfielder. And I think he needs a bit of a go. I know he's had a bit of foot injury, but I do think
he's always injured. He's always got something wrong with him.
Yeah,
would you go with Conlon and Gardner and one other then in the midfield?
Yeah. I probably will. Probably give it a shot. I would. Yeah.
Yeah, you may be right there. I think we had that Port Vale fan on, didn't you? And the Port Vale fan was saying, Conlon's best times when he was at Port Vale was when he was playing further up the pitch, and then we seem to have played him a lot deeper, or certainly that's the way that he seems to be playing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is the pressing side of our game. Is I don't think we press anywhere near as much as other teams that we play. Agreed. I think when Ebbsfleet lost the ball, Woking lost the ball, they chased us like dogs, don't they? Until we pass it inevitably back to Hudson, and then Hudson launches it somewhere upfield, and we lose the ball.
I think Lundstrom's never been a presser though, has he? And I don't think he's that sort of player. Everybody I spoke to at Altrincham saying he was an attacking sort of midfielder at Altrincham, but I've just not seen that side of him. And the pressing side, I think he looks a bit of a lost soul. I think he needs either a rest just for his confidence, but
the pressing side of the game is the easiest part of the game. All you've got to do is run at people. I mean, you don't even have to use the ball.
He just doesn't look confident.
You just have to, and it's a coaching thing. And that when Mickey Mellon said in his interview about what they were going to focus on, some players are going to need to get up to speed fitness wise. Some people are going to need to recover. Well, the whole team needs to sit down with them and get on the training pitch with them and tell them how they're going to play against Boreham Wood, and then expect to see them play that way. I think if they come out against Boreham Wood, play that long ball again, everyone's going to be scratching red thinking, what the hell's going on here?
It's got to be a reaction, hasn't there, against Boreham?
I think there's a natural benefit as well of having 10 days, because if you've got a 10-day gap now between games, you've got the ability now to sit down with your players and go, right, here's a bit of a system. This is what we're going to do. This is how we want to work it. My only concern is I think he's playing a style of play that he thinks fits the players. But I don't think it does. I think it leads us to be really naturally defensive. I think it immediately puts us on the back foot because we've got players deep. And then we talked about earlier on in the season when we were playing McGahey in midfield, and when we said at one point in time we had 5 centre backs on the pitch with Sutton, McGahey, Raglan, Hobson, Hogan, and it's immediate. It's obviously it's better now because we've got different players, but I think it's trying to look at a system that maybe is different. We talked about that Ethan Walker. I've talked about it with mates in the past as well, and I think he came on, didn't he, against, was it Woking, and he looked dangerous. He was
Hendon, he won a penalty, didn't he? Hendon, he won a penalty. I like him, mate. I think he looks really good. Dallas has got a lot more to give. He's not had the match fitness, so
Dallas has played off the wing as well, which is the other thing off that right hand side. So if you put Ethan Walker on the left wing, you put Dallas on the right wing, you put a man in the middle.
Straight in the middle, yeah.
And you see what you can do. I'd love to see us do like a 4-2-3-1 type system, because I think the striker needs support, but I think Norwood can operate in that kind of just behind the striker type role, and then you've got Garner up top or off on. I know he's injured now, obviously Norwood, so it's going to be different for a short period of time. But I want to see something different.
We shall see. Yeah, we've Mickey Mellon's got to earn his coin as the manager, and make these decisions. But you're a team that's pushing for the playoffs. You've got to have a goal. You can't be giving the ball back every 2 minutes because you're playing it long and losing it. You've got to keep the ball. You've got to get forward. You've got to make chances. You've got to put teams under pressure. We didn't do that in the last 2 games. That's not good enough for a team that's chasing the playoffs, is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. I agree with everything Dave said before, right at the beginning, in terms of, I'm trying to be as positive as I can, and I'm not. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt, a lot of the time. To be fair,
no, it's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Just don't agree with Dave. It's just a sign of lunacy.
In the sense that trying to be positive, and I think it's context is key, isn't it? You said it before, and look at where we've been in the last. Go 3 years back, 4 years back, a completely different scenario, isn't it? So. It's better. The club's in a better place. It's better on the pitch. Yeah, we're at the right side of the table for once. Top side of the table for once. So we're having conversations about playoffs and conversations about promotions, which we've not done.
Good vibes, man.
Exactly. Nice one. Right, Chris, we've gone past the hour mark, so it's time for bed.
Our alarm will go off in a minute. It will.
So thanks for your call, mate.
No worries, all good.
All the best.
See you soon, mate.
See
you later, mate. So it's end of the show time, signified by on effect that we found, which is fun.
Yeah.
So there we go. Thanks very much to everyone who called in this evening.
BPS tour.
Oh, what? No.
You know,
Oh, do you want to?
Yeah.
Go on, you want to be dance along? From Shaw
to Shulver,
Crompton
to Coldhurst,
Fittonhill
to Failsworth,
Hollingwood
to Hathershaw,
from Lees
to Limeside.
You're listening to
the Boundary Park Alert System, Oldham's award-winning podcast.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
From Fittonhill to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You're listening to. Absolutely. No, it's been
to Nevada to Norden. There you go.
From Nevada to Norden.
Nevada, where Jim Fryatt lived, and he used to live in Norden.
Oh,
I was listening.
You're at a different level than me, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so thanks for watching. There's no podcast this week because there's no game. And it's my birthday on Friday.
And you're going to get very, very drunk.
And I'm just going to have a weekend off. So if you want to buy us a birthday coffee. So now, Dave, fans can buy us a coffee. How do you like your coffee?
Like a nice cream, white, frothy latte.
Latte? So if you want to buy Dave a
latte,
then you can go to buymeacoffee.com/OAFC podcast. I'll just take mine black.
Oh,
that always makes me laugh.
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Yeah. So
No.
I've got some sound effects in. I'm just going to use them.
Oh my goodness!
Right. Okay. So thanks very much to Sean for coming on and telling us about his
it was
dad,
superb. Thanks to John Bramall for getting Sean to come on.
Yes. Thanks to the other callers, and thanks to you for watching and or listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Boundary Park Alert System, a QPod production hosted and produced weekly by Matt Dean, Andy Halliwell and Dave Bradley. QPod is Oldham's only dedicated podcast production company, and if you'd like to learn more about how podcasting can help take your brand to the next level, visit kupod.co.uk. A huge thank you goes to all those people who subscribe to the podcast on Spotify. We really appreciate you all. Please visit oafcpodcast.co.uk and click Be a Supporter or find the link in the show notes if you'd like to help us fund the show. It's only $2.99 per month to subscribe, but if you'd rather make a one-off donation, please visit buymeacoffee.com/OAFC podcast or click the link on our website. Don't miss the Latics football phone in every Wednesday live from 8:30 p.m. Please visit youtube.com/@OAFC podcast and do hit subscribe while you are there. You can also follow and interact with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok @OAFC podcast. Big thanks go to Eileen Finnegan for writing our excellent weekly blog, which we encourage you to read on our website every Saturday morning, and also to Paul Prendergast for providing us with all the Latics Mind questions. The title music for the show is by Manchester DJ and producer Starion, and for more information visit bandcamp.com/Red Laser Records. If you'd like to be a guest or contribute to the show, we would love to hear from you. Until then, see you next time.